on this awesome Wednesday afternoon. I am here with Jill.
Howdy.
We're here to talk a little bit about MLB playoffs today. Who do we want to start with today, Jill?
Don't make me cry.
I know, because your beloved Mets were out in the wild card.
Brief rant on them. Okay,
Go right ahead.
I said to everyone, going into the season, I said, maybe not World Series or first place run, but I said definitely second place, no lower than third. And I said definitely wild card push. Definitely can do it. I said, I would be surprised if we are a second half team. Everyone knows it. Noah Syndergaard even said that's how you know it's true, because even the players know it too. But this team is a second half team. So once we made the trade for Bruce, I said, I'm having recollections and flashbacks to last season when we got Cespedes. This might be a good thing. And of course, he goes ice cold. So it's like, dang, nope, this is not going to happen the way I thought it would. But then they started to heat up.
Yeah.
And we made the wild card, and we won by like 1.5 games. I was like, this is great. I was so excited. I was right again. And I'd also like to note that every time I make a prediction for baseball in here, it usually comes true.
This is correct, because you predicted something like this in April on our Radiothon show.
Yes. I predicted the Mets World Series run last year. No, going into freshman year. So the beginning of my sophomore year. And I said, my freshman year sat right there where you are. And I said, okay, this was when they won like the 20 games in a row in April.
Yeah.
And I said, World Series right here. World Series. And I was right. I was like, it's great. No one believed me, but it's great.
I think we should start having you make just predictions all the time.
Honestly, I might. And I might just bet money on it too at this point, because I've been pretty decent so far. So
there we go. But
yeah.
I mean, the San Francisco Giants, that was a tough game to lose, especially because it was it was very, very neck and neck to like the last play.
It was rough. I mean, going into the wild card, when I saw the last two options for us to play were either the Cardinals or the Giants, I was talking to my dad about it. And I said, I don't know if I want to play the Giants because A, it's an even year. We all know about the even year thing with them. B, Baumgartner is insanely good.
Mm-hmm.
And C, I think the Cardinals, as good as they are, when it comes to the later half of the year, they were starting to decline.
Yeah.
They weren't nearly as good as they had been in the past. And I said, they're also a much older team. They're breaking down. Whereas, we had players on the DL, we lost a lot of players, but we still could suffice and get through it. We could have at least beat them and make it at least to the NLDS, and I would have been really happy with that. But we saw that we were playing the Giants. So you know what? We still have hope. It's Syndergaard who's on the mound, so it's not we're gonna get blown out of the water. He can hold himself up there.
Yeah, Syndergaard's a very, very good pitcher.
Oh yeah. But the game actually was going really well. I didn't watch it. Like, I wasn't glued to my TV. I was doing homework too at the time, so I wasn't glued to my TV. But when I was watching, it wasn't like a horrible game. It wasn't like he was off his game at all. He was pretty much on the money. And Baumgartner was too, which was the hard part. Because if Baumgartner's on his game, chances are either you're gonna lose or it's gonna be a really hard fought win.
Right.
But the one thing I will say about that game is that I think Syndergaard could at least have gone one more batter.
Yeah, he really could have.
Yeah, because he only let up 2 runs, and the 2 runs came in with the top of the 6th, top of the 7th. So it wasn't like he let up the runs in the beginning of the game, or he let up 2 runs every inning, whatever. It was 2 runs in 1 inning. He could have done a little bit more, and it wasn't like it was a serious thing, because 6th, 7th inning, you still have time to come back.
Yeah, you do. You have plenty of time.
Yeah, so I think he should have been left in the game for at least one more batter, and then after that one batter, see how it went. And I don't think they should put Familia in, because he's proven this year and in last year's playoffs that he hasn't been the same lights out relief pitcher as he has been in the past. So even though he did break the record this year, it's not like he has been stellar every game. He's let up 1 run, a couple of hits.
Yeah.
But, I mean, luckily they still won, but I don't think he should have been trusted with it at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like I said, the fact that we still made it there, I was so proud, and I was happy because many people said we wouldn't do it.
Exactly. I remember having this conversation with you a little while ago. I was like, the Mets definitely had a chance. They completely had a chance. And, it's not like they blew it. It happens sometimes. I mean, I'm a very big Yankee fan. It's not like I was like, oh, good. I have another New York team to watch.
Yeah.
That would be nice to see them go.
I wish I could say the same thing about myself.
That's okay. But, I mean, I'm just happy the Boston Red Sox are out of the playoff picture now. Not going to lie. I mean, for David Ortiz, I'm sad that, but I'm not a huge Big Papi fan. He's all right. I mean, he's not my favorite. But I was sort of happy that they were out. The Cubs and Giants. I'm happy that the Cubs beat the Giants, but
no, I'm very happy about that. I'm so glad that they got eliminated. I am so thrilled. You have no idea.
and then the Dodgers and Nationals are, I think, tied up. So that's because tomorrow the Nationals and the Dodgers play Game 6 at 8:08, and they're at home for the Capital or for the Nationals. Wrong team. So they're home. So that's. I mean, for the Washington Nationals, they're a very, very good team.
Yeah.
When they're on, they're very good.
Oh, yeah.
But when they are not on, everybody falls apart. It's not just like when one player goes.
Yeah,
it's like
that's basically the whole with the one player going, everyone else shuts down. That's how the Mets were up until last year, basically.
I mean, Bryce Harper is, I feel is like the glue to that team sometimes.
Usually he is, but I think this year the real glue is Daniel Murphy.
I really think that he is the glue to that team because, honestly, like Bryce Harper is a very, very good player.
And very attractive.
Yes, he is. Unfortunately, he's engaged still.
I know. They're all being taken away from me. It's a good thing Mario is a David Wright lookalike, so it's fine. I'm happy. He knows.
But so he's a very, very good player. Like, I respect him, but he does do crazy antics like we have seen before from multiple other players.
Yeah.
But I'm very happy that the San Francisco Giants are done. I am not a huge San Francisco Giants fan. I am definitely more of a Cub fan. Just because I've been to Wrigley Field and it's a gorgeous field. I'm not a huge Joe Madden person. My dad and I never really liked him, so it's all right. I mean,
that's fine. We'll let it go.
We'll let that one go.
I'm like trying to pull up the Nationals page, but the app is not. Okay, now it's working. Okay. No, it didn't load all the way. Okay, I'm trying to figure out if Murphy's actually on the roster for the playoffs. I think he is.
I feel like he was. I think he is.
Okay, he is on the active roster, so he must be playing. I honestly haven't been keeping up that much because of midterms, but
exactly.
But I think the key for them, because I'm not sure if you noticed, but the last couple of games of the season without him playing, they weren't winning, or they weren't winning by as many runs as they would have if he were in the lineup. Oh my goodness, words are hard today.
It is Wednesday, so it is middle of the week.
Wednesday. But I think now that he's back, especially that they're going to be facing the Cubs.
Yeah.
More than likely, let's be real here. The Dodgers don't have the best track record in postseason.
They don't, and just, Matt Scherzer's pitching tomorrow night.
Yeah, no, Matt Scherzer's on the mound. Isn't it Kershaw?
I don't know. It says to be determined.
It's probably gonna be Kershaw.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's gonna be Kershaw, and it's on Fox Sports 1. But like when you're facing Matt Scherzer, if he's on his game, he's lights out, and you're toast.
Yeah, no, you're done. But I think when it comes to National League, it's gonna be the Nationals and the Cubs.
I really think that.
But I think what really is going to be the determining factor in who is going to win that series is if Max Scherzer is on his game, if Daniel Murphy plays, and then if Bryant and all the Cubs, the little Cubbies that they are, if they pull up with their big power, they usually do, and they pull up. But the thing, like I have been saying for the last couple weeks, is that when you look at last year's playoffs, it's pretty almost the same teams essentially.
Yeah, it really is.
And similar situations have been going down. But when it comes to the Cubs, even the Dodgers, we'll talk about the Dodgers first. So Dodgers, I think although they have the young talent, I don't think they're ready for it. I don't think they can push as far as anyone else could. So they're gonna lose tomorrow. I have a really good feeling they're gonna lose tomorrow. The Nationals do have what it takes to go all the way. I wouldn't mind seeing them there because I do like Bryce Harper. I do like Daniel Murphy. I like how that team plays, how they play very well together. They're like one team. If one person does well, the whole team does well. If the whole team doesn't do well, the whole team does not do well.
It's that's the team sport.
Yeah.
That is a team sport.
Yeah.
Flat out.
But when it comes to the Cubs, would I like to see them there? Yeah, because they're very talented, but I'm not very confident that they can make it there.
I think it's because they're they've taken a big dip in the second half of the season. They've really started to decline, and they struggled with certain teams in the postseason. And right before postseason started, they were struggling. I was like, even though they clinched, it's like you can't be like, oh, I clinched, let's take a backseat and relax. There's still games to be played, but I'm excited for the Blue Jays and the Indians games. I'm not gonna lie. I loved Andrew Miller when he played for the New York Yankees. Really sad that they got rid of him, but I'm glad that he has a chance to at least, be able to possibly go to a World Series. He's a very much a lights out pitcher. He's a very, very good relief pitcher. So for the Indians, I'm happy for them. But I really do believe that the Nationals will win tomorrow, and then we'll go on to play the Cubs.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm calling Cubs and Nationals, and then in the AL, obviously it's what it is. I honestly. That's going to be a tough one, too. This year, I feel like this year is the first year in a very long time where it's very evenly matched, the final series. But, like, if you look at it, too, the Rangers got swept off the bat. Obviously, the wild card games are only one game, so that doesn't really count. But if you look at the matchups for both ends, for both different divisions, I feel like the NL is more of a tight-knit race.
It really is in the AL, because the AL ones were blown out of the water. The Red Sox were swept by the Indians. The Toronto Blue Jays swept the Texas Rangers. There was it's no fun to watch games that are you just are bored.
And even before the postseason, if you look at the standings from before then, you saw that like there was a huge gap between the first and second place teams. Like I think who was second in the AL East? Was it the Yankees?
I thought it was Yankees were like dead last.
Oh.
They were last. If for some reason, I don't know if it was I think it was the Orioles.
I think it was because they were in the wild card.
Right? They were in the wild card game and they lost to Toronto.
Yeah. So there was such a big gap between even the first and last place team. I mean, the poor Braves had such a huge gap between them and the Nationals. They were like 20 games back?
I think they were 20 games back.
Like, that's horrible.
I feel horrible for them.
Yeah, but like if you look at the other like divisions or the subdivisions in the NL, really the first and second place teams were like 2.5 games apart. Not even 2.5 games. They were less than that.
It was like a half a game, and I was like, where you could see in the AL standings, it was big gaps. It was like 5 games. Like I think it was Boston and Orioles. I think were like 2.5 games, or then the next one was like 5 games, and I think the Yankees were, maybe 6. But it was like it was bigger gaps. Than
so like if you look at it, I mean, at least like to me, this is how I see it. I see that the NL is more evenly matched, and the NL has more competition. I mean, the AL does have powerhouse hitters, does have very good hitters, but I feel like the teams overall in the AL were not as like matched evenly, because you have like I said, the top 4 teams for the AL this year were just they blew everyone else out of the water.
They really did.
I'm kind of eager to see what it's gonna be, because I feel like the Blue Jays and the Indians are a very evenly matched team based on stats and based on the runs scored in their playoff runs. But a part of me would like to see the Indians in the World Series,
to see the Indians in the World Series,
because they were basically the Mets. They came out of nowhere.
They really did this year. They came out of absolute nowhere.
Yeah.
And to get Andrew Miller, they did a lot.
Yeah. So I like to see them, but I'm fearful that Joey Bats and the Blue Jays are just going to overpower them.
Yeah, Troy Tulowitzki as well. I mean, he's been on fire this entire postseason, so that's going to scare.
Just playing in Toronto is going to be insane, because those fans are crazy.
Yes,
and you all know that like the fans power the players too. It's not like the players are the only ones who like give. The fans give back. But like I said, when it comes to the NL, I'm a little nervous, because I think the Nationals do have the ability to crumble under pressure too. Because look what happened last year with the Mets. We were, within the last 2 weeks, we were, I think, 5 games behind them. And then they lost like 3 in a row or something like that. Or they lost, and to the point where we were able to push forward. And once we gave them that pressure of being so close, they crumbled.
Yeah.
So I feel like that could be a downfall for them this year, especially with Bryce Harper and his meltdowns.
Oh,
he's very prone to that.
He is very prone to his meltdowns.
Yeah.
And it's a problem, because when one player melts down, it creates a whole other issue. I mean, you see that in football, and you've seen that over the last 2-3 weeks with Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah.
So it happens throughout every single league, but
Yeah.
his meltdowns, I mean, aren't is going to be a downfall for
I
them.
mean, luckily for them with having Daniel Murphy, if you saw like last year, like, comparing the two different seasons, basically what he did for the Nationals is what he did for the Mets. He was the staple when everything kind of went wrong or things weren't going right for the Mets, and I think he was the one who pushed them through the playoffs, got them through it, and then I think he's going to do that again with the Nationals, especially if Bryce Harper doesn't come up the way he usually does. But again, with the Cubs are kind of like iffy because they choked last year, and I'm afraid they might choke this year, but not as much as they did last year. I don't think they'll get swept this year.
Right.
I think this should be more of a back and forth.
Mm-hmm. I definitely think so.
I don't. I'm a little.
It should be
nervous.
interesting to watch.
Yeah.
So when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Tim Tebow and his instructional league. I know you're not a big fan of that.
No.
It's an interesting story, and we'll be right back.
You gentlemen seen